So just to tell you a little bit about myself, I've been in Dubai about 4 years. It seems like a lifetime. I know when you come here, the first 6 months flies by quickly, but this past 4 years seems like it's been 4 days. Myself, I'm born and bred in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I'm not sure if some, oh yeah, Canadian? All right, same table. All right, good stuff. A couple things about Toronto. There's a couple things I'm proud of. The CN Tower was the world's largest building from 1976 to 2007. And then guess who surpassed it, obviously here. The second thing, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs are North America's most sought after franchise in sports. It's an ice hockey team. It's the Manchester United of the ice hockey world, so I'm proud of that. Two things I'm not proud of. Number one, Justin Bieber, who's from my area. Not very proud of him back home, I'm not sure the rest around the world. And a gentleman named Mayor Rob Ford. I'm not sure if you know who that guy is. Google him. That's just a bunch of laughs. I have worked in Fortune 500 companies across North America and now here in Dubai. Dell, BlackBerry, Salesforce. But what I've learned about organizational behavior and process are a few different things that I want to share with you today. Because there's reasons why you want to move to something like a CRM, because it'll help streamline your business, close sales quicker, and obviously generate more revenue. So on the agenda today, we're going to look at a few different things. Number one, I just want to touch on, I know we all know what CRM is, but I need to refresh you a little bit because some of you weren't even at the first part one of this presentation. Number two, is right now the right time to invest or to bring on something like a CRM? Do you need it right now? Is it something your business is looking for? I'm going to then show you how to build a strategy for your organization. A lot of people understand what CRM is, but if they don't understand how to build a strategy for it through business objectives, it really doesn't make sense. It's a lot to pay for some of this technology. There's a lot of great brands out there. I mentioned one where I work for, but there's many out there that can assist you. Some very expensive, some not so expensive, but it's an investment of your time. So the investment doesn't mean money, it means of your time. And then finally, we're going to do BPM, business process mapping with Ahmad. Is that Ahmad? We're going to walk through basically what he does with a sale and how that affects his close. And we're going to talk a little bit more about percentages and how those work. So I encourage you to take notes. Someone very intelligent always said, if you're not taking notes from someone that is a knowledge expert, then you're wasting your own time. But I know we're not wasting our time this morning. So I have a quick story before we move any further. I was sitting with my deputy CEO, Dr. Hassan Dawood, and we were talking about organizational behavior. We were talking about business process. I was brought into an organization, a media organization, to assist them with their organizational behavior and their process. He said, "Troy, I want to tell you a story. My first year, when I was an intern in the UK, we were making the rounds, and there was 15, 16 of us running around, screwing around, watching what doctors were doing, learning. And we went into an OR, and there was this older surgeon working, and he already been in surgery for 3 or 4 hours. You could see he was stressed. He was trying to work through what was going on. And there everyone's huddled around him, so he kind of felt like he was stressed. That's what it seemed like from what my deputy CEO said. And he actually turned to my deputy CEO and said, just out of nowhere, what's the greatest challenge in life? Just turned to him, and there's 15, 16 of them. He's like, I'm not sure. He felt embarrassed, he didn't know what to say. And then he just turned back and kept working on the patient. So later on, my deputy CEO tracked this doctor down. He was in the physician changing room or changing area. He said, "Doctor, tell me, what's the biggest challenge in life? Tell me." I mean, I felt bad I couldn't answer the question. And he said, change. Change is the biggest challenge in life. And what we're going to talk about today is accepting change and letting you transform your business. 3 stats on here, and I'm going to ask a question after. But this is a customer review, satisfaction review from last year. I'm not going to name the brand, but these are some statistics from what they saw in their own CRM implementations. So 32% improved win rate. That's talking about per sales opportunity. A 40% increased sales productivity, which is an amazing stat. And a 32% overall increase in revenue. Can I see a show of hands? Who would not be happy with these stats in their own organization? These are all great stats. And I think this just shows what CRM can do for you. It's not about how quickly it can be implemented, but it's about the transformation. I'm going to breeze through the next few slides. CRM itself is considered a buzzword, but it's just basically how we relate to our business and how we relate to customers inside of our business. We have to look at potential leads, why they're important, qualified opportunities, and how we look at those opportunities inside the business. Also, when we're talking about sales, projects are important because I know not all of us are selling products. Some of us have services, so there are projects to roll out or services to roll out. And finally, account intelligence, where we put all the great information about our clients, our accounts, and how we manage that information. 8 reasons that it's time for you to start looking at what you're doing for inside your business. Now, if you have no single point of source of information, that means if your notebooks are here, if you have some things on Excel spreadsheets, which I'm sure some of us do, you have invoicing in different places. With the CRM, you can push all that into one area. So you can have a company name, all the account information, all the documentation, and everything that goes along with that inside. 2, there's little or no visibility into accounts. So that means you don't know what's happening with an account. Are they a key account? Do you continually sell into them? Are they an account where you can make more, I'll say, earn more revenue, not make more money, because we don't make money off our clients. We assist them with what they're trying to achieve. Reports, are they tedious? When you hear the word report, do you cringe? Is it something you don't feel like you need to do, and or when you're doing it, it's a pain. And that's because you don't have it that information readily available. Are you losing value in your data? Now, when I say that, a lot of us talk about data to be something that's of importance. If data isn't important to your business and you don't understand data inside your industry, then you're losing out on so many different opportunities, on market trends, on how that data can be in a form of assistance to you in selling and marketing as well. Is it hard to stay in touch with your business? Do you know what's going on with your business? For me, personally, I go on my phone, I click an application, I open it up, and all of a sudden I can see my entire business on there. I can see dashboards, I can see what's closed, what's not, I can see revenue, I can see quarter to date, year to date. That's important to me. The last few, every customer is treated the same. We kind of touched upon key accounts. Does your business lack a plan to scale fast? If you have a plan, you can scale fast. If you have something like a CRM to assist you with your client management, you can scale fast. And lastly, it's funny, forecasting and reporting, we were talking about that in my business the other day. Somebody actually asked, do we even have forecasting and reporting? Well, that's a telltale sign that you need a CRM. So when we're looking at how to build your organization, there's 5 basic steps to building a roadmap plan. I believe the first is defining your vision. So when we're talking about why it's important to have CRM, you have to understand your business and your business objectives first. So when we want to understand that, we have to define the vision of the business. When we start to understand the vision of the business, we can then proclaim a strategy. If we have a strategy in place, that gives us an idea of where we're trying to go. From the strategy, obviously, comes objectives. Objectives are one of the biggest, I believe, one of the biggest pieces of CRM in business. Because if you don't have objectives in line with your strategy and vision, your business really doesn't have direction. And obviously, metrics and initiatives, those two follow that. And an initiative could be building a roadmap to define your CRM. So, Ahmad, if you don't mind coming up to this seat right here, right up front, I'm going to walk you through. You can have a seat there, you don't need to stand. I'm going to walk you through what a basic business process mapping would be. I'll draw big enough so everyone can see. But basically, when we're looking at mapping our CRM, we have to think about how leads come in. Right now, I work for a media agency. We bring leads to companies. That's what we do through all different types of media. But what happens when they get inside the CRM? What happens when we bring leads in? This is a basic setup of how any company would be, but if we're talking about car leasing, it's a little different. So let's talk about first how leads come in. So what type of leads do you have coming into the business right now?
Right now?
Yes.
Right now, it's through cold calls, so
Yeah.
through lists.
Good. Cold calls, lists, what else?
There's a bit of PR.
Okay, great. What else?
There
Do any
is
media buying or,
currently there is some online media buying.
okay,
So
Google AdWords, such?
yeah,
Okay,
social media
good.
buying. And then customer referrals.
Okay, good, obviously. Customer referrals. Now, the reason why it's very important, number one, to understand, and this goes for your entire organization, to understand where your leads come in. At the end of every quarter and yearly, you can start to source how your leads get driven through the business. And then when I can say we earned, $3 million in revenue last year, let's say 20% of it came from cold calls, 10% came from lists, PR was, 30, online didn't do so well, maybe it was only 5%. Social media buying is really going up because everyone knows you can drive PR through social media, and then client referrals is maybe another 20%. You can then look at your marketing budget, and you can then say, well, is my portfolio pushed too much to cold calls? Can I diversify it? Or if we want to stay with cold calls, do I push more money into it? We can access revenue to a lead source, and your marketing team can be more intelligent just by using a CRM. So we talked about different ways leads come in. Take me through a typical process in terms of a lead coming in. So let's just say, you do walk-ins obviously too, right?
Yes.
Walk-ins. Let's just say I walk in, because we didn't put there, but that's okay. What would happen? What do I do? Tell me the stages until we go from the walk-in to me buying the car.
Okay. Ideally, there is a sales guy
Okay?
that identifies the prospect's needs.
Okay?
So
Needs analysis?
needs analysis. Yeah.
Okay? Yep. Go
Then
on.
he generates a proposal.
Okay, good.
Then he follows up. He or she follows up.
Okay?
Then there's a close.
Then there's a close?
Yeah.
That's quick. That's awesome. I want to be in your business. That's awesome. That's fantastic.
And then there's delivery.
Yeah, then there's delivery.
Now, obviously, this can take, depending on the size of the deal, whether it's a tender, whether it's a small client, you can scale this up or scale this down.
Do you work in fleets like corporate vehicles, like many vehicles? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is for vehicle, amazing, ACK Solutions, but this is obviously for vehicle purchasing. What I want to do here is look at how this process works into opportunity stages. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to list, as a lead coming in a walk-in, obviously, that would be, I'm just going to put the lead here, it's a type of lead. This would be 10% because the lead's coming in. 10% because what we're doing with the lead itself is we're giving it a value. Is 10% meaning it's 10% probability to close? Well, yeah, that's the reason why we're working it down to percentages. So if we understand the delivery to be, because the close would be probably like an LOA or something, a signed document, right? The delivery would be payment. So if we work kind of from both sides in, that's the best way to look at how we understand our opportunity stages. So if payment is 100%, and we can understand that, we then have to break down the opportunity stages. Now, I'm going to walk through this exercise very quickly, and then I'm going to show you for other businesses what service industry or products would look like. So needs analysis, we probably put at, if there's only six steps, we probably put at 25%. If we're getting some sort of pricing or information back to the client to say, this is our offering, we're looking at usually 50%. Follow-up or an LOA, follow-up could probably stay here. An LOA we could say is 75%, maybe it's even 90%, and then the close is 100%. Now, this is important because if we start to look at, did anyone need to take a picture of that or anything? Okay. If we're looking at the way business works, if we say, let's just put some percentages here. Now this is typical for businesses because there could be, I've worked with companies that have 20 steps, and I've worked with companies that's like Ahmad's that have maybe 5 or 6 steps. This has to relate to something that's more important than just opportunity stages. This has to relate to the big F. And I know that can be something to other people, but to me that means forecast. It's how you look at your business. So if we just say 10% is a lead coming in, 20% could be, a meeting, as we just talked about, 40% could be, I always put that an RFP or a tender before a real proposal because it is less than 50% that you will earn that. 50% could be a proposal. Oops. 75, I always say, is the point in the sales cycle where you're not sure what's going on. You're reviewing, you're negotiating, there's a lot of back and forth. In all of these stages, with any type of mapping system that can assist you with your client relationship management, there's a bunch of different tasks inside of here that you can talk about, that we map in, that are all activity driven, that are pushed into the system. So at any point in time, if I am the managing director or I'm in Ahmed's position in ACK Solutions, we want to find out what's going on with ABC company who's buying 100 Toyota vehicles. I can click on the account and I can see exactly where they are in the sales cycle or the opportunity stage cycle, and that can directly relate to my forecast. So on the bottom here, an LOA is a letter of agreement, and this would be a commit. Oops. So what I want to show you is opportunity stages, as we see up here, are very important. If we're working through leads, we're qualifying. Qualifying is a big piece of the pie that we kind of fail to do sometimes. We just get a lead and we go out and see them. If you can understand if it's a good lead or a bad lead, or you have a criteria of what's good for your business, what's good for your service, that's very important. I know no one wants to turn down business, but if it's a waste of time and money for you to go and see a client, don't go see them. There's nothing wrong with saying, I'm sorry, but I can refer you to another company. I know as a small business owner, it's difficult to do. I've even always taken in business, but I've learned that if I qualify correctly and you create a criteria, then you can score the lead correctly and go and use those leads. So you have to understand the niche to the client that you want to work in that demographic for. Proposal stage and negotiation review, that is, that could be different for every organization, but that's something you can define in the CRM. You can have quoting templates, proposal templates. There's a lot that you can do in CRM now, where you can do it from your phone even. You can update you can update proposals from your phone, which is amazing if you're sitting in front of a client and you need a 10% break. Jump in, take 10% off a certain product or service, boom, the T's and C's are assigned to it, create a PDF, send some electronically for them. You can do that now. It's amazing. Well, we're working through the bottom stages of how we commit. This is important because if I'm sitting in my position I am now as a business development director, I'm looking at all of sales. I'm looking at the organizational behavior, I'm looking at process, but I'm looking at numbers. So when we talk about forecasts, the worst thing is when you have a salesperson go to a meeting and drive into the pipeline a $1 million deal or even a 50K deal and say, oh yeah, we have a new deal for 50K. It's going to close. How do you know it's going to close? You went to one meeting. There's no way you can tell me it's going to close. So what we're trying to do with the CRM also is have a more intelligent forecast. So if we can have a more intelligent forecast, there's things like leads and meetings and maybe even qualification. If we put qualification here as 15%, you want to omit those from your forecast. Take them right out. They should not be there. Because I don't want to know unless you've given an offer letter to someone or a pricing to someone. That's part of the pipeline. I know everyone gets excited and your sales team comes running in with a new opportunity. Well, it doesn't mean anything until you get something in front of them. And that's where the pipeline begins. So if we can say RFP and proposal is where you start your pipeline, this can give you a more intelligent forecast on how you develop your business. Now, when we move from pipeline, people think pipeline is everything to close. It's not. Pipeline is just business that's gone out. There hasn't been any more talk, there hasn't been any more negotiation or review. So I know there's 3 CRM that are using it now, but there's different stages inside forecasting. So there is pipeline, negotiation, review stage would actually be best case. So if you can think about that, you have a bunch of revenue in the pipeline. Oops. Let's do that again. talking and writing. Best case. So best case would be negotiation or review. Only because you're past the point where you've had the offer letter out to them, and now they're at the point where this could get good, this could close, it's coming closer. You can get excited now. This is what you can talk about in your meetings. Because you're through a forecast where you're omitting things that are, the probability is very low. And as you get closer to this stage where you want to be, you can start to forecast this into your operating costs, your overhead. You're going to start to understand that. If you have something like, I know it's a little messy right now, but a letter of agreement or something signed, you would consider that as a commitment. Because you can't really get away from committing to a product or service. So if I'm to say, looking Q4, what's going on with my business, I can see what's in the pipeline, what's the best case scenario that might close, but I can see what's committed. So if I know what's committed, then I can say, okay, well, I can go and hire more people. I can invest in the business, I can scale the business up. I can, jump to a new region. But the business is scaled because I have a framework inside what I'm doing in my organization. And that's what CRM is all about.